Hello, everybody, and welcome to the JSE Investment Challenge with me, Subi Moya Arnold. And I know it's cold out there, but you know what? Let's keep together and be stimulated in the mind with the Johannesburg Stock Exchange flagship literacy program through education and investment. Today, I'm very excited to be introducing our winners for this month, but I couldn't do this without our JSE technical expert, Ralph Spears. Hello, Ralph.
Good day, Toby. It's a pleasure to be on the platform with you. I'm looking forward to our discussion with the winners today.
How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. It's a little bit chilly today, but otherwise doing very well. Enjoying working from home, and yeah, it's a pleasure to be chatting to you.
For those of us who don't know or are not really sure about how the JSE Investment Challenge really works and what this portion or today's episode about the university competition is all about, please can you just unpack that for us?
Okay, so what we've got is for those that are at university or a college, any college in South Africa can participate in this competition. You are given R1 million virtual funds, and I emphasize the word virtual. So you get given R1 million virtual funds, and you've got to go and try and build that R1 million by buying and selling the shares on the Johannesburg Stock Exchange. And that's how the game works. We are obviously trying to assist those at university to understand what the stock market is all about.
So you're emphasizing it's a virtual game, right?
100%. You'll be surprised. A lot of people wanting to claim that money, right?
Okay, I'm excited to introduce in our next segment our winners for this month, but just let's touch base a little bit on the prizes. As far as I know, we have a monthly prize of 3,000 Rand per team, and our annual prize, drum roll please, is 25,000 Rand per team. And apparently, Ralph, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, they have an opportunity to win an overseas trip to a stock exchange anywhere in the globe.
Yeah, that's a fantastic prize, 100% correct. And so each year, the destination is chosen at the end, where you'll go and visit as a team an international stock exchange and get to know what they're doing. The last year's winners were fortunate enough to go to the New York Stock Exchange and be able to go and see that trading floor.
Unbelievable. I mean, that is an opportunity of a lifetime. So the first prize is 25,000 Rand per team. What are the second and third prizes, Ralph?
So the second prize is 20,000 Rand and the third prize is 15,000 Rand for the team. So those are the three prizes for the team.
I am so excited, but more than that, I'm excited to introduce our winners for this month. So keep tuned. And if you want to find us, please, it is university.jse.co.za. And for our other segments, it is students.jse.co.za. Am I correct there, Ralph?
You're talking about the high school competition, that is schools.jse.co.za. So it's schools.jse.co.za. And then for those who are in college and university, it is university.jse.co.za.
Thank you. You see why I couldn't do the show without you. Okay, so we'll be cutting to our winners in a couple of seconds. But while we wait for that wonderful time to speak to them, really, I just want to explain and just harp on the fact that this is about a journey of discovery. It really is about empowering. And this game, it's a virtual game without economic or cultural barriers. So anyone can really register and be part of a journey of really trying to invest and find the tools and skills to better invest your knowledge in the JSE Stock Exchange. See you in a bit. And we're back. I'm so excited to introduce to you our winners of the JSE Investment Challenge. Right here, we have Ralph Spears, which was introduced to you a little bit earlier on. He's our JSE technical expert. Hi, Ralph.
Hi there, Tumi. Thank you. I'm very excited to be chatting with the winners. So, yeah.
So could you explain, just before I introduce the winners, how they got to this point of the competition?
Okay, so on a monthly basis, and we go according to a game calendar month. Well, what I mean by that is we start in the middle of the month, really, on our dates. And each month, what we do is we reset the scoreboard. And there's a scoreboard every day that everyone can go and see their position, and on a daily basis. And at the end of that game calendar month, we then announce a winner. So today, we've got the April winners for this competition, and they were on top of the scoreboard at the end of that month of April.
So without any further ado, I'd like to introduce to the rest of you our winners for this month for the JSE Investment Challenge. That is Inkunzi, traders from UNISA. Hello.
Hello, Hlubi.
Hello, Hlubi.
Thanks for having us.
It is Africa Month, my brothers.
Hello,
I'm so
Ralph.
excited to have you here. Proud, Sola,
proud.
and Edwin. Welcome and congratulations. How are you feeling?
Wow, we're feeling great.
We are feeling so excited about winning. It's really a pleasure to be on top of the scoreboard. It is so surely nice feeling.
Edwin, how are you feeling about being a winner today?
I'm very much excited that we actually made it. We're actually on top of the league. We're actually rolling. We're keeping the ball rolling, and we're hoping to achieve the best at the end of the competition as well.
Ralph, are they keeping the ball rolling? Apparently 77% investment. Is that correct? How well did they do?
Yeah, they did exceptionally well. You refer to me as a technical expert, but when a team gets 77% return in 1 month, I should be referring to them as the technical experts, because that's exceptionally good. So well done to both of you. So that was 77%. And as they say, they are kicking the ball rolling. They're still currently holding the overall position right now as a team as well.
Inkunzi. That's a very powerful African word. Tell us what that means and why you chose it as your team name. Edwin, Proud, anyone?
Inkunzi, it simply means...
Okay.
Edwin, let's go. Let's ask Edwin. Edwin?
Okay, Inkunzi simply means the best. So in the strategies that we use when we're trading with my colleague, we are of the strategy of the bullish market. We operate in the bullish in a bullish manner. So Inkunzi, it's a bull. That's where it emanates from. It's from the strategy that we are actually using. Yeah.
So Ralph, can you just unpack what does it mean to be bullish in a strategy when it comes to investing?
So when you've been bullish, basically, there's two terminologies that people use. They either say they're bullish or bearish. When we talk about somebody being bullish, we're really referring to, and this is not necessarily the technical actual history of the word, but a lot of people like to refer to it as being the bull and the bear. The bull being when the market is going up, or it doesn't have to be a market. It could be a sector, or it could be a share. So they'll refer to it as being bullish. And so they themselves can be bullish on a certain company, or bullish on the market, or bullish on a sector. If they're bearish on something, then they would be going short, or they would bet that the market is going to go down. And that's where the bear is fighting down with its claws. So that's where a lot of people refer to it as bullish and bearish.
Inkunzi traders are winners for this month on the JSE Investment Challenge. Proud, tell us more about you. So where are you from? Apparently you're both from Zimbabwe and studying at UNISA.
Yes, I'm from Zimbabwe, together with my colleague. I'm doing law, second year. I'm still on second year. Yeah, basically, it's interesting to be with my colleague, who is an expert in the financial industry, kind of like, because he is
Helps.
actually studying towards financial things.
Edwin and Prad, just for the both of you, what made you become interested, besides obviously your studying and besides your background, what else drove you to want to be involved and be bullish in a strategy for this competition?
Well, from
Edwin?
my end, from my end, I was lured by my colleague, Prasala. He lured me into the JSE Investment Challenge. I actually didn't know that there was such a platform where learners can come together and also try to trade and follow the financial markets. So basically, he's the one who gave me the idea that such thing can it can actually be done in the real world. I just knew this theoretically because I just studied it in my program in the discipline that I studied, the Bachelor of Commerce Honors Degree in Finance that I had. And when I had a chance to meet with Proud and we became friends, that's when he introduced this whole program to me. And we joined the JSE after I became a student at UNISA, studying for a postgraduate diploma in risk management, which I'm actually pursuing currently. So it is quite an exciting platform for learners or for academics to also explore and exhaust the knowledge that you get from the universities or colleges and see how it is applicable in the real world of the financial markets. I think that's what I can say for now.
I love the fact, because when we were talking earlier, Proud, it's as if your studies are the theoretical part of everything, and the JSE Investment Challenge is where you put all that knowledge into practice. Yes or no?
Yeah, actually, if you have theoretical knowledge on its own is not enough. So you need some practical knowledge about how to actually execute trades and make profit out of that.
Okay, let's get into your methodologies, Team Nkunzi, as being winners. What is your daily or weekly trading process?
So what we do,
on a daily basis, what we do is to analyze the market. So there is no day that goes by without us checking what's happening on the market. So it is very important to us that we know exactly what is happening, and we get to check news on what is happening in the world, not just in South Africa, that can influence the markets. Then we respond based on how the markets are performing.
And Edwin, would that be the same, obviously being on the same team?
Just to add on what Proud was saying, we do analyze the market. We look at trend analysis where we analyze the values of per se. For instance, in our case, we do the warrants, we trade the warrants, we open positions in warrants. So we look at the historic information, how the warrants have been performing perhaps for the past 10 days. And then we analyze if there is a possibility that the warrant is likely to have a hike or an increase in price again. And then we then make a decision to open a position in those warrants, where at a later date we then realize our profits.
Thank you. So, Rolf, just to backtrack a bit. So they say they are really conscious about warrants. What's the difference between warrants, or define warrants for those of us who are not as elevated as Team Kunzi are, warrants and shares and single stocks? Can you just make that differentiation for us? Because they are clearly working with the warrants. That's their preference.
Sure. Yeah, so we've got on our platform, we've got shares, which is, you've got around 350 plus minus companies on the JSE. And so you can buy any of those companies on the JSE. Then you've got single stock futures, and that single stock futures is only for the top 40 companies. It's really both. A single stock futures is really a leverage product where you basically are getting gearing. To try and explain it in easy terms, you basically are getting 3 times the profit or the loss when you basically go and buy one of those companies. So any of the top 40 companies, if you're buying Anglo Gold or you're going and buying Aspen, you can use the single stock futures products to be able to buy that as well. Then you've got the warrants, and really warrants, you just put in like a deposit down, and again, it's a geared product. And what happens there is that you, with single stock futures and warrants, you're able to decide to bet whether the company is going to go in an upward direction. So we talk about going long. And for most of you out there, you might not realize, but you can also make money while the stock market is falling or the companies are falling. And so that's where you can use a warrant or single stock future and bet that the market or that particular company is actually going to fall, and then you'll make money from that as well. So those are the 3 different products that we have on the stock market, and or on this particular challenge. Let me correct myself there. We've got a lot more products on the JSE, but those specific 3 products are what we've got on the investment challenge for university students. I must just emphasize before we get into the products or get into the other questions, is to emphasize that this is a virtual trading platform, and everyone that's listening to us must understand we're not giving advice or telling you to go buy the next warrant out there for a real trading account. Everything we discuss here is purely for the investment challenge virtual game only. So it's not advice.
So for those of you who are watching and want to find out a little bit more about the JSE Investment Challenge, it is university.jse.co.za. Back to Team Nkunzi, the winners for this month. Is there a particular sector that you're really focusing on using these instruments? And that's either to you, Edwin, or to you, Proud. Are you really focusing on honing in on a specific sector? Proud, let's start with you.
Yes. We really are focused. We really have our own industry that we have targeted. That is the mining sector. So our focus much is on what's happening in the mining industry. So we try to get as much information as possible that affects the mining sector, and not only just the mining sector. We are specific to which mineral we are interested in.
Wow.
So we are not just trying each and every company. We have got specific companies that we are focused on.
Is it an insider team secret which minerals you're focusing on, or is it too much to ask for, Edwin?
Okay, just to add on what Proud has said, well, we use that. The reason why we've got a particular mineral that we follow, it's for our risk assessment and risk management. Because whenever you venture into the stock markets, there's some risk that you are taking. So we follow a particular mineral for our risk management to diversify our risk, to control the levels of risk that we can incur.
I love that, Rolf. Another word that I'm picking up here is diversification. Tell us more about that concept when it comes to investments, Rolf.
Yeah, so a lot of people out there would like to spread their risk, and so they diversify into different classes of assets. So, for example, it could be gold, could be a bit of property, could be just normal top 40 big companies. So they like to diversify. I would like to actually ask Edwin, during this downturn that happened in the beginning of March, did your asset class or your particular resource mineral that you are actually investing in, did it assist you in during that crisis time?
Unfortunately, currently due to the COVID pandemic, most of the prices were actually going the opposites to what we actually expected. So it hasn't been that good in the last days.
Yeah, and that's the challenge. Sorry, Klubi, that's the challenge. Yeah, that's the challenge, is that diversification is great, but when you have these massive downturns, 2008, 2009, again now this year in February, March, you basically saw what we would term blood on the streets, where it doesn't matter what you are holding, everything was actually falling down.
Blood on the street, bulls and bears, diversification. There is so much to learn with us right here on the JSE Investment Challenge. Back to our winners, Team Nkunzi. Tell us more team strategies. You know why I asked this question? Because for some of us, I think investing is something that people are very fearful of or feel very intimidated about. For those who are really starting this investment journey or this investment habit, what can you tell us about your strategies? Obviously, just simplified to the ordinary young girl or young boy really wanting to start this great habit of investing. Team Nkunzi.
Okay, I will.
Thanks, Proud.
To somebody who is starting, I would say, if I have to base on our strategy, I'll say be able to analyze the market and be able to pick certain shares or warrants that you want to trade on, and then create your own data on those particular warrants. For example, if I take, for example, Sasol and take the warrant, the call warrants for Sasol, be able to create data from those warrants, mostly the movement, how the warrants have been performing in the past 10 days that you get from the ShareNet website, and then start building your own data from there, recording every closing price. Then from there you can be able to analyze the relationship between what is happening in that particular sector and the share movement of, or not of the warrant, but of Sasol, for example. Then you can be able to see how the share movement affects the warrant. Then from there you can be able to execute your trade based on your analysis.
Edwin, please add to that. Do you have anything to add to that? And Ralph, after Edwin, let's just reflect on some of their strategies and what you think. And are there any other ways we can do things when it comes to investments? But first, let's go to Edwin.
Okay, like what my colleague has indicated, as a beginner in the platform, you also need to have tools like ShareNet, know how to use ShareNet to analyze your market.
ShareNet.
Yeah, ShareNet. So that's where you get your data, your statistics to show you the prices, the previous price and the current price in the market, the movement of prices, the way shares are actually behaving in the market. It basically gives you the trend of a particular share or a particular warrant that you are actually analyzing in that particular market, and you are able to come up with a decision based on the information that you extract from ShareNet. So from my end, I would suggest that they should start by learning how to analyze trends using ShareNet.
Okay, Edwin, and so basically, Edwin, there are many different ways to analyze companies, and there's not one perfect way. We call it the Holy Grail. There's no one perfect strategy out there. Every different one has success ratios as to how well it does, and others. And you talk about Edwin. You talk about following the trend. How do you guys define the trend using this data? Because in the markets, you've got like moving averages and things like that you could use. If you're going to, how do you define it? And could you be very specific so that those out there listening can really learn from you guys?
Love it. Love it.
Okay, from my end, what I'm referring to as trend is the fluctuations of prices from one day to another. Changes in those prices, that's what I'm referring to as trends in this instance.
Do you have, are you using other indicators to assist you with the trend? I understand that each day it's fluctuating. How do you define that trend over time? There are many people out there that would use maybe for longer term, like the 50-day moving average or the 200-day moving average. Do you use the moving average to help you define the trend?
Yeah, we do. We analyze over using the data for 10 days, for the past 10 days, historic data for past 10 days, for us to come up with a decision.
Ralph, correct me if I'm wrong. I want to ask Proud, what percentage amount are you using for a trade? Because I know, and Ralph, correct me, you can only use 20% in this competition. Proud or Ralph?
Yes, we. Oh.
Go ahead, Proud.
Okay, yes, we. Okay. We are not mostly our analysis. We mostly basing on our movements, which we are focusing on. It's more of 10% movement and the likes. So we don't use those big movements. We are only focusing on the. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, so
Yes,
we're referring to the percentage of your portfolio that you use in a position. So let's say you want to buy warrants. There's a certain percentage you're allowed to use. So for shares, for example, it's 20% of your portfolio value. Do you use as much as up to 20%, or are you very risk averse and rather using very low percentages of that money you can go and spend when you actually buy in those different instruments?
Okay, now I get you. Okay, we are very risk averse because we are trading on a high risk platform. That is, the warrants are very high risk. So the moment you use even more than 10%, you are at high risk. So normally our percentages are around 7%. We don't exceed 15%. If you notice, even our portfolio holdings, always our cash balances are always higher, far much higher than our holding at each and every day. So we try by all means to limit our percentage because we are trading at with high risk. Warrants are very high risk.
Thank you so much, Proud. Thank you so much. And coming up next, so please don't go away. Ralph will be telling us who else is doing well on the JSE Investment Challenge scoreboard. Don't go away. Hello. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. My name is Subimboya Arnold, and you're tuned in to the JSE Investment Challenge. With me, well, with all of us, is our winning team, and that's Team Nkunzi, Zimbabwean brothers, and that's Proud and Edwin. And of course, never forgetting, my right-hand guy is our JSE expert, technical expert in the house, and that is Ralph Spears. Hello again, everybody.
Hello.
Ralph, what's going on the scoreboard? Who's doing what on the scoreboard? Ralph?
Okay, I'd like to, because we've got, yes, you can hear me? Because we've got the two current winners, well, not winners, or first place position holders of the annual game, I'd like to actually focus on the monthly scoreboard. And we've got the market butchers that are currently sitting at position number 1 with around 20% for this month. And then it's followed by the Boom investment managers, and they're very close behind, also sitting with 20%. So it's really just decimals over there that is separating first and second position. But of course, Nkunzi, you guys are sitting on the top spot of the annual competition, and it's going to be interesting to see who can go and dethrone you.
Nkunzi, are you ready to be dethroned? You're not hearing any of that.
We are ready to put in place risk management strategies and grow our portfolio within the next couple of months before the competition ends.
That's the attitude and that's the spirit. Yes, Rod, what do you have to say about that challenge?
Sorry, Clue, I didn't get you well.
What do you have to say about keeping yourselves in this top position? Add fire to Nkunzi.
Okay, Nkunzi will not stop fighting upwards. Always it will be moving upwards. Now, for this month, because we are busy with the exams, preparing for exams, and we are not very active in the market. So that's why our movement for this month is very low. But that's our strategy also, to say we should trade on a high risk warrants, whilst we are busy preparing for exams. Sometimes you forget to go check and you find you're making a loss. So we are playing it safe. But next month we'll be back.
With fire, I'm sure, with fire. So this is a session where we basically answering your questions. Obviously, it will come from those of us or those of you that have been watching us right here on Facebook Live. So the questions, feel free to answer Edwin, feel free to answer Proud, and please do answer Ralph. We need your expertise right here with us right now. While we're waiting for those questions to roll on, I just want to keep the conversation going. Who are you guys most influenced by when it comes to the stock market? What websites do you go to? What books do you read? You know, who are your mentors? Who guides you? Who are the people that you look up to? Let's start with you, Edwin. Who's your inspiration and motivation or mentor?
Hello?
Can you hear me, Edwin?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Who are your inspirations or books that you've read when it comes to stock exchange and all that literature and the behavior patterns about that? What do you read? Where do you go to? Besides from UNISA.
Well, the sources that I use, they are the ones which I use at UNISA. And the ones that I was using when I was doing my Bachelor of Commerce Honors degree, my first degree. So those are the basic sources. That's where I gathered most of my knowledge. And like I indicated earlier on, my colleague here, Proud, is the one with the technical know-how of how these markets operate. So he's the one who lured me into all this. And now, yes, I'm also on top of the ball. I would like to thank him for actually attracting me to this platform. I now know what I learned theoretically, how it applies in the real world. Yeah.
That's wonderful to hear. Proud on your side. What has been your greatest source of knowledge when it comes to investing?
I follow people like Warren Buffett.
Yes.
They put in those strategies. They motivate on how to trade and on trading and also if I have to mention that the JSE challenge Facebook page, it's actually giving us best strategies. It's also giving good advice. So I always follow through the Facebook page and learn more. I'm actually, even after the challenge, before it opened, they were already putting in some advice. So I follow those advice.
If you know what, if the truth be told, I'm also a novice and I actually go through the JSE on Facebook, and it really is, and they really do give us gems on how to just strategize and just the basic terminology and the basic practices of investing. I completely agree with you, Proud. So let's go to the questions. From Becky Twala, how many trades do you guys do in a month? So that's from Becky, and that's to obviously Inkunzi. How many trades did you do in a month? Nkunzi? Let's go to Edwin.
I think Proud can tackle that one because he's the one who executes the trades.
Let's hear from you, Proud.
Okay. We can't say how many number of trades because sometimes we do maybe about 20 a week. Ranges between 20 to a week. So it depends. It depends on the performance of the market because some weeks we execute maybe 10, but on a good week, on what we call a good week, we execute something like 30 trades.
Thank you for that. And the next question I'm getting here, and Ralph, you can help us with these questions. Please do. You are our expert in the house. I would just like to know how one can start a stock on this platform. Ralph,
Yeah,
so
it looks like they're wanting to know how can you short the stock. So basically, when you go and short the stock, it depends on what stock you're wanting to short. But if you're looking at the top 40 companies, you can go and use the single stock futures. And I'd encourage people to look at the single stock futures. It's following the actual companies of the top 40, and it's a great instrument to be able to go and do that. So when you go and click on single stock futures, so you go click on trade, and then you'll click on the single stock futures. You'll say show all. There's a button there, show all, and then it'll give you the full list of all the single stock futures there. You will then go and click on the actual share you want to, the single stock future you want to trade. And all you need to do is place the number of contracts that you would like to buy or sell. So in this case, it will be a sell because you're going short. So you are selling this instrument. So therefore, you'll click on sell when you actually place that order.
So the concept is called shorting the stock. Am I correct?
100%. So we talk about shorting it. And if we're talking about buying a company that's going up, we would say we're going to go along with it.
We're always learning right here on the JSE Investment Challenge. And we're with our month's winners, and that's Inkunzi Traders. And that's a team of Edwin and Proud from Zimbabwe. And that's beautiful. And that's more than a coincidence right here on Africa Month. Let's continue with the questions. and I think we've answered this, but we'll do it for you again. Which sectors do you gents look at? You can repeat because we've answered this, but let's do it again. Which sectors do the gents look at? That's from Paul. Edwin or
Okay,
Proud?
we are focusing much on the mining, and from time to time we also look at the financial sector, mostly the banks. So we're focusing on mining mostly, because that's where, like, we have tried to gather as much knowledge, like more knowledge as possible, and about the trends that are happening in the mining sector. So that's where we're currently focusing.
Edwin, for you, a question from Uzeba Msimang. What shares you guys find less profitable?
Well, I'll answer that question using the strategy that we use. Like we indicated earlier on, that we have some minerals, some specific minerals that we follow. It's not all minerals that we find profitable, like when we try to execute our trades. So we've got a particular trend of minerals that we follow.
Is there anything you'd like to add to that, Ralph?
Yeah, you can go and do what we call relative strength comparisons, and it's the Google generation. So those that are listening to this or listening to the recording, go and look relative strength, and basically you can compare the different sectors together, or even the different companies that are out there together, and you basically, using that relative strength model, you are able then to see what's the strongest shares in a particular sector or in the whole market, and which ones are the weakest. And then you would consider buying some of the strongest performing companies, and those that are the weakest, you could consider actually shorting those companies.
Relative strength models and so much more. Okay, I think we're wrapping up the questions to Inkunzi traders, our winners for this month. How did COVID-19, this is a great question from Sibusiso, how did COVID-19 affect your stock strategy? Inkunzi?
So the COVID-19 pandemic, it has come as market risk, which is non-diversifiable. Well, based on the strategies that we use, we normally execute our trades when we expect that price will rise in the nearest future, where we buy warrants, call warrants, not put, but call warrants. So in this instance, we find that most prices of the companies that we're following drastically fell due to the COVID-19 pandemic.
Would you like to add to that, Proud? Your stock
Yes.
strategy during...
So what we did, after realizing that those companies that we were following were falling, we moved to another strategy, because we already have plan B. So we started by trading in knockout warrants, what we call knockout warrants, where we are not focusing on a specific company, but we were focusing on the top 40 as combined. So by that, you are spreading your risk. You are not only focused on the risk that can affect one company, but now you are focusing on the risk that can affect the whole top 40 companies.
Beautiful, beautiful. Ralph, do you have any final words to that question?
Yeah, so
investing in COVID.
Yeah, so I just to carry on from where Proud actually was talking about, and he talked about knockout warrants. And for those of you that are listening and would like to find out more information about that, where you actually are now betting on the actual market as a whole, the top 40, and not a particular company, you can go read up in our frequently asked questions on the website itself. There's a whole number of different frequently asked questions that actually discuss warrants and knockout warrants, and you'll be able to look at those descriptions and understand how they are then able to use those knockout warrants to their advantage.
Thank you, Rolf. We're learning so much about the world of investments, obviously through our winners. From that's Inkunzi Traders. Don't go away. We'll be back in a bit. Welcome back, everybody. My name is Subimboy, and if you want more information about the JSE Investment Challenge, go to university.jse.co.za. I'm surrounded by greatness today because we've got our winners, and that is Inkunzi Traders. Well done, guys, from Zimbabwe, Africa Month. Congratulations. And of course, I couldn't do this show without our JSE technical expert, Mr. Rolf Spears. Rolf, just tell us how to register. I think that'll be a great way to end off our show. How do we register if we want to get involved in the challenge?
Yeah, so important. It's a great point. So those of you that are watching this video, you can still actually go and register on the website. Click on university.jsc.co.za and then go and click on the button register. You would then, it'll ask you which university or college you belong to. You would fill in your team details, you and a partner. It needs to be a minimum of 2, maximum of 4, and fill in the details, and you can go and actually submit it, and immediately you can go and log in and actually start buying and selling there and then. And so I'd encourage all of you that have watched this today, do go and register. Make sure that you're participating. You can win one of these monthly prizes, and I think it's a fantastic opportunity. Irrespective of what you're studying, you can go and play this competition.
Inkunzi, we're going to wrap up with you because you're not winners for no reason. You come with a lot of hard work, discipline, and of course, luck. Give us some gems about honestly and truly what you've learned about this competition. Not only about investment, but about yourselves. Edwin or Proud can answer, I don't mind. What have you learned most throughout this competition? Edwin?
Okay, personally, I've learned to be persistent, not to be knocked out, because sometimes you wake up and you find that on the scoreboard you are maybe below, maybe you are on number 100 or below that, and you need to fight on. Go look for new strategies, read more, and I have learned to read more about the markets and learn how other people that have succeeded in trading, how they have been doing it, and what strategies they were using, and how to diversify your risk. Because the most important thing is about managing your risk whilst you are trading, not just going there to make profits. Because whilst you are doing that, one thing may knock you out, and you'll be out for good.
Edwin, what have you learned most about this competition? About yourself? And yes.
I've learned to analyze the volatility of the market, that it is real. The market, it can actually become more volatile, and you can actually lose all your investments once off. So it is also important to put in place measures to try and control the level of risk that you are tolerant to whenever you are entering a market.
And I know, Edwin, I'll still stay with you. I know we touched a question on your strategy during the COVID times, but how else has COVID affected you as a team and your investments? Can you just touch on that a bit?
Okay, well, as a team, we just give thanks to technology that we can still work from
Absolutely.
a distance. That's what I can commend at the moment. Otherwise, if there was no technology, I think it would have been everything would have been shut down right now. We wouldn't be actually be able to operate and continue executing our trades on JSE. But within technology, Facebook, WhatsApp, we can still communicate, we can still do our analysis, we can still execute our trades together, regardless of distance.
So your teammate says he loves Warren Buffett and he reads plenty of his books. Besides from reading material from UNISA, Edwin, what else would you recommend that people who are starting their investment journey to read? Or can you give us a stock market expert or maverick that you think really would motivate another person?
You know, from my end, I also follow the website of the Johannesburg Stock Exchange. So I think anyone who is really interested can also zoom in the Johannesburg Stock Exchange. You can get as much information as you want.
Ralph, as we close it all up, any final words from your side?
Yeah, I think that nothing ventured, nothing gained, and I want to go out there and learn something new, go learn about investing. And hopefully one day when you've got a bit of extra cash, you'll then know what to do with it, because you would have learned the techniques using a platform with no risk as far as your own real money. So I'd like to encourage everyone, join us. We'd love to have you part of this great big family. And thank you for listening today.
Thank you so much, Ralph. I couldn't do this without you. Final words of inspiration and motivation from our winners this month, Team Mkunzi. Can you give us words of departure to live by when it comes to investing? Team Mkunzi. Proud, let's start with you.
I'll say to everyone who wants to trade or who is trading, nothing is impossible. I remember two days ago, we lost about close to 100,000 in a single day, meaning that if you can lose 100,000 in a single day, you can also gain more than 100,000 in a single day. So don't be discouraged that Nkunzi is now he has now made more than 1 million on top of a million. So it's impossible to catch them. You know that you can do it. It's possible. Just learn your strategy and polish the strategy and learn as much as you can. Learn how to trade other, not only warrants, but try other options that are available for you to trade and execute your trade. But above all, be aware of risk. Manage your risk very well. I think that has worked for us, managing risk, and it can also work for you.
Thank you so much, Proud. Edwin, final words from Team Nkunzi.
We really appreciate that they set up such a challenge, such a game, which is an investment challenge for learners and academics. So for anyone else out there who is also willing to join, or those who are already participating in it, I say the sky is the only limit that can limit you. Otherwise, you can even perform better than we've actually done. Thank you.
Leaders on our JSE Investment Challenge scoreboard. That was Team Nkunzi, my brothers from Zimbabwe. Congratulations once again. I really hope that you enjoyed our show today, and I hope that you will really become more engaged in the JSE Investment Challenge. So from me, Subi Mboya Arnold, an investment in knowledge always pays the best entrance. Stay safe, stay warm, and save lives. Mwah.